And helping us cut through it a little bit more, a little deeper, joining us on the Ring Central hotline is Matt Doherty, former Carolina head coach, also at Notre Dame, amongst others, and played with MJ back in the day. Ring Central providing easy-to-use cloud phone solutions for your workforce and business communications made simple. More information, go to ringcentral.com. Hey, Matt, Tiki and Tierney, how are you today, man? What's happening?
Little game in Phoenix today. That's what's happening. So excuse my voice, fighting the cold, but excited to be in Phoenix and ready to attend, I think, what will be another great championship game.
Yeah, you better suck this up. Say some Dayquil, some Theraflu, whatever it takes, because if you guys win, and even if you don't, I mean, I would imagine you're going to be hanging out with some of your Tar Heel brethren, maybe having a few pops. Where are you watching the game? I mean, are you actually in the venue, I'm sure, but who are you going to be watching the game with, I should say?
Well, Coach Williams has been very gracious to give a lot of former players tickets. So we have great seats behind the Carolina bench. And Coach Williams also hosted a little reunion for us the other day before the game. So it's been really a great experience to be with some former players. And, talking about the Carolina family, it's alive and well in Phoenix.
Matt, it's interesting when I look at this North Carolina Tar Heels squad and what Roy Williams has built. And I didn't even realize it until I was reading over the weekend that you guys haven't had, not you guys, but whatever, you're part of the UNC, so you guys haven't had a one-and-done kid in 10 years, right? How is he keeping these kids around? I know Justin Jackson was one that tested the waters last year, didn't get a favorable review from the scouts, but did not hire an agent, so he's able to come back. And it's paid off for him, to be honest with you. But how has he been able to do this when every other program gets these kids that are there for a year and then out?
Well, I think it's a function of the talent. It's like Villanova. You can win with 3- and 4-year guys, and I think that Coach Williams has gone after the best players, and for various reasons, maybe they haven't, decided to go to North Carolina. So he's gotten maybe the next cut. Instead of the top 10 player, maybe he's got the top 25 player, top 50 player. And I think, as proven by Coach Williams, you get those players, you develop them, and you can win with them. And that continuity and I think maturity is so key this time of year. You look at all 4 teams in the Final Four, they're pretty old. They've got seniors, they've got fifth-year seniors, they've got transfers. They're mature not only physically, but probably more importantly at this point in the season, emotionally.
We're talking to Matt Doherty, of course. Matt, former head coach of Carolina, played there as well. Some other stops, Notre Dame, SMU. Nobody knows what's going to happen tonight. That's the beauty, particularly with young men and women, college ranks. Can win by 20, can lose by 20, buzzer beater, rout, who knows? I'm curious, though. Carolina is obviously held to a different standard. If the Tar Heels were not to win tonight, is it still a major success story or no?
I think so. I think anytime you go to a Final Four, you hang a banner. There's a lot of pride. There'll be disappointment like there was last year. But to be able to go to back-to-back Final Fours, regardless of whether you win one of the championships or not, is something that as a player, as a coach, it's one and done. That's what makes the March Madness so great. The best team doesn't always win. I thought in '84 we had the best team in the country. Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, Brad Doherty, Kenny Smith, myself. We came off the bench with 2 guys that played in the NBA. We were the best team, but we lost to a young Indiana team. On any given day, anything can happen, whether it be an off night, a referee's bad call, rolled ankle. But over the course of the 7-game series, like in the NBA, then usually the best team does win.
Yeah, and Matt, not only did that happen in '84, but it happened the next year as well in '85, when there's no doubt that if they played 10 times, Georgetown's going to smash Villanova probably 8 and win the other one. The one time they lose is when the whole world's watching. So you're right, back-to-back years where the best team on paper, the quote-unquote best team did not win. And you mentioned back-to-back Final Fours and the banners and everything. Obviously motivation during the offseason to get back to this point after the way it ended last year. Archidiakono to Jenkins at the horn, crazy finish. How much of what happened last year, particularly in the final 5 to 10 seconds, will actually enter the court as the Tar Heels emerge from the locker room tonight with them?
I don't think much really. I think it could creep in their minds if there's a last possession with a tight game again. But the disappointment, the hurt, does that motivate you through the season? I think it does to a little bit, but it's another experience that helps you get to the next point. Hey, we got there, we were close. We have a lot of the guys coming back. We're going to be good again. That happened to us in '81. We lost in the finals to Isaiah Thomas, and we had Sam Perkins, James Worthy, myself, Jimmy Black coming back, and then we also added a guy named Michael Jordan who didn't hurt. But so I think it helps. The bottom line is you're going to have good talent. That, as Coach Smith would say, plays hard, smart, and together. And if you do that, as corny as it sounds, and Bill Belichick talks about the process, Nick Saban talks about the process, Dean Smith talked about the process. It comes down to one possession at a time, because that missed box out in the first minute of the game impacts the last minute of the game, and it's not just the last minute or seconds of the game like what happened to Oregon against Carolina with the missed box outs on the foul lines.
Yeah, that's true. And Coach Smith is going to be watching from heaven tonight. There's no doubt about that. We're talking to Matt Doherty, former Carolina head coach, and he's also a scout for the Pacers. That's what he's doing now. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney.
Matt, you talk about the cohesion that the North Carolina team has, and that's developed through the good and the bad. And we were just talking about the game against Virginia that they lost in the end of the regular season. They scored 39 points, and no one ever got anything going. But I think it built something in them. When you flip to the other side, the other opponent, the other team in this game, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, they're a team that doesn't have a lot of that experience together. Right, Nigel Williams-Goss, he comes in as a transfer. Jordan Matthews, same way. Jonathan Williams also. But somehow they've collectively built this dominating experience for themselves this season. Who has the advantage? Is it that team that's been together for a while, the team that just kind of feels like they gelled quickly?
Well, first of all, Tiki, where'd you play football in college?
University of Virginia.
Yeah, that was a nice shot. Nice, subtle, chin music. You had me at the plate.
It was coming, man. I couldn't let you get – North Carolina's taken all my glory, all my life in basketball. And, in fact, the one year in football we were really good. We beat Florida State. We lost to North Carolina.
You threw that high and tight, and I'm thinking, what's this Virginia game have to do with this?
Yeah, right. Let's see if you can Madison Bumgarner it, though.
Yeah. That Gonzaga team, I think Goss was with them last year. I think Jonathan Williams was with them last year. Karnowski's like 35 years old. And they have a couple of transfers, whether it be Jordan Matthews but they are older, mature, and I think the Goss kid is that coach. I hate to say it, that coach on the floor, the extension. He wasn't going to let them lose against South Carolina. I thought that was pretty darn impressive. So Mark's been knocking on the door. I remember in '82, hey, Coach Smith never won a national championship. We wanted to be that team to win it for Coach. We wanted to be Coach Smith's first championship team. And the character of the kids at Gonzaga, I'm sure they have the same feelings towards Mark Few. They want to get that monkey off of Mark's back. They did by getting to the Final Four. Now I'm sure they want to finish the job. I think it's going to be an excellent ball game.
I couldn't agree more. We're ready for this. And Matt, before you go, I'm curious. I know that Georgetown's going to meet with Ewing, which actually is kind of a contradiction of what I heard 2 weeks ago. It seems like that's actually gaining a little traction here, that Patrick might become the coach at Georgetown if it works out. You coach at your alma mater. I know it's not a great comparison because there's never apathy with UNC hoops, but that has somewhat seeped into the Georgetown program now. I know you know Patrick. He's a peer. I know you know that. Do you think that that's a good fit? Would you, if Patrick calls you up and says, Matt, what do you've been down this road, what would you do? What would you tell him?
I think Patrick would be a great choice because I think the relationship, is critical. North Carolina was dipping when I got there. I didn't know how to manage up, and I think that the biggest thing, that the elephant in the room, is John Thompson. So who better to manage that relationship than Patrick Ewing?
Yeah.
Patrick has experience as a coach. Patrick gives the effort towards recruiting. He walks in the gym. Kids are going to notice that 7-foot mountain of a man. I think the key will be hiring a seasoned coach that can help him navigate the college landscape, not only recruiting rules, how to deal with all the public stuff you have to deal with, and let Patrick be Patrick, and let that coach, associate type head coach, manage the program, and let Patrick, recruit, raise money, shake hands, and coach and practice it on the floor.
Matt, you're right. I mean, people don't look at it this way, but so much about a successful program is about the staff and the role allocation. And it sounds great if they win the press conference. If it is indeed Pat, everybody's going to be fired up. But you got to have the right people around them to insulate him, and quite frankly, tell him what he doesn't know from an administrative point of view.
Well, I think Chris Mullen was in a very similar situation as St. John's, and he he's finding his way, but he's had some bumps in the road out of the chute, and I think Patrick, would hire the right associate head coach. You can't just put together a group of friends. You gotta, you're gonna get all kinds of calls. All your former players, all these guys, are gonna want a job, and he's gonna have to, make a business decision of what's best for Georgetown basketball in terms of his staff if he gets that job.
Matt, have a great time and enjoy watching your boys tonight. Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Go Heels, Tiki, right? Let me hear you say it, Tiki.
Ooh, he's calling you out. Ooh, hey, I'm not going to let him say that, Matt. Don't be trying to dog my boy over here. Come on now. Easy with that nonsense, man.
It's all good. It's all good. Nothing but love here.
All right, Matt. We'll see you, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
You got it, pal. Trying to get Tiki to say go Heels. Are you kidding me, Matt? Come on.